Today I'm sharing about learning a lesson the first time. When we do excessive compromising, it's like approval seeking, yes versus no. It's a very heavy toll on the self-esteem and the fear of blowing up, not telling people our truth, or expressing authentically. When we give false benefit of the doubt to avoid abandoning or abandonment, endings really. We didn't arrange the outcome on our own, it takes two. I can't control their half or allow it to be just made of my half. When we have a power source giving us both, we don't forget our intrinsic value and beauty. It's like as a roommate, a family member, a date, a friend, a member. Can't worry so much about what they think. We need it to be two. The more integrity we have, the less resistance and projects onto others, and the people will have to project toward our role or resistance toward us. Heaven on earth is a place of love and home. And it doesn't mean our actions don't have consequences. Actually, the mind that created the problem actually tries to solve it. So we can manifest if we recognize there's a natural timeline we're on that can be confusing if we don't let go of attachment to outcome. But when I overeat, for example, the walls are not boundaries. I can take action and surrender to results, clean the spilled milk. Who cares whose fault it is? And the stubbornness in the positive is persistence. Garbage grows, so don't have to let it get out of hand before I take care of it. It's a stomach hunger versus a spirit hunger. And a couple other things I wanted to share was that Rabbi David Ingber says that on our path, we can move into first-person consciousness. It's a clear mind that rings like a bell. Intention shapes the worlds that our words and any words create. Even in bitter exile, when we don't want to offer a sacrifice, we don't want to end our idols. We don't have to kill the dream or the love or the faith. That's why we should not ever give up. The inner eye, the outer collective, the inner collective, it really is like a poetry, which is like the art of prayer and language as a clay. And Debra Silverman, talking about clay, she shares that, let's say, when people talk about astrology, I like to really redirect it to the elements. So like water is to protect our sensitivity. And I happen to be a water sign. I'm a Pisces. Earth is to become practical, efficient, and timely. Organized, efficient, staying the course even when we don't want to. And that's this month, Capricorn, right? Air is thinking positive and talking specifically, accurately, versus endlessly or over-detailedly negatively. The challenge of empowering our mentality is the superpower. And fire, imbalances cause roller coaster or short circuit quick fixes. So Rabbi Ingber talks about transfiguration, the insight where things can transform. The insight power, sufficiently honed in, every state of the union can be a path to union. Even discursive thinking will be used and elevated. Morning and night prayer fulfills the requirement to keep logged into Torah all day long. Wakefulness capacity is our portion of awakened consciousness. Is exactly what's expected. So in other words, we have our portion. One second. Our morning prayer and our night prayer are like bookends for the periods in between. And we could constantly keep connecting with that, because even the discursive thinking, right, is going to the union, the path to union. It's like all paths lead to one. And so our capacity to be wakeful is our portion. And with contact, it's like formlessness to form. A lay person is someone without a discipline. This is someone who's not disciplining themselves, working on themselves. But strength with discipline is not just harsh. It's actually the strength to be soft. It's the willingness to bring awareness to awareness. It's the timelessness of the absolute radical impermanence. It's one seamless coat. In Hebrew we say echad. It's two rooms of the mind, the wisdom and the fantasy. The chachma is wisdom and the midem is the fantasy, the inverse faculties that can potentially be used in tandem. Wisdom is like everything till now, and fantasy is like what could be possible. So we don't want to make our mind hefker, which means ownerless. It's like you could have a field that's hefker, no one owns it. Our dreams are emergence, the immersion of unconsciousness, and when we suppress ourselves, it actually blocks our channel to God. So proper worship is when we say the Shema in Hebrew, that we'll listen and that God is one, that all power, there's the source of all forces, and it's one. We say it when we're sitting, when we're gonna walk, when we wake up, or when we're laying down, like upright. And I was getting a lot of downloads after all these like interesting ways of looking at it. Like, so first of all, my body image, like when I follow the pleasure, that's without self-betrayal. When I choose myself as beautiful and I'm comfortable in my skin, I could do prayers, meditations, go in nature, dance. It's all about acceptance and love. It alters the appetite and energy, the undischarged energy that's used in transmutation. And the body is the gift of natural physical world and contains the wisdom, even with what we call the blemishes. So the body itself is a gift of the natural physical world. That's how we could do our best with being in the physical natural world. And then the downloads I was getting, or it could be the uploads from the body, right? I was learning to give love by first learning boundaries around giving and also learning to receive, to share. The racist, bigots, misogynists, become gay or any of those people are avoiding losing ideals. I recognize also I was impulsively intolerant for myself with many roles for each one. I passed like reminder, amusement, lesson, hope, cheerleader, attender, ignorer. These were like new roles I was looking into. Some people I meet, there was this man named Omar. I have visions of past lives and deaths to explain my ego, life, and dependency on their existence as the role I have given them. And people going to dogs over humans act cruelly and inhumane without integrity and mercy and selfishly. And so spirit feels unworthy of conscious human equal love by choice and free will of partnership. So 1, refraining from chasing attention. 2, accepting reactivity is infectious. 3, observing the time. 4, jokers are taken out of the deck. 5, terrain management upgrades. This is about avoiding losing ideals. So impulsivity can be like jumping in the pool to be liked or to be able to swim. So it depends if you have your track in mind and you're fearlessly moving in, or if you're reacting to something coming in. So to be productive and purposeful brings to happiness. The going inward to do our own thing, because a pineapple is not an apple. It has apple in it. Pineapple's not an apple. So you could be jumping in the pool to be liked or to be able to swim. In loving myself, there's no rush or pressure. These are things I was learning about myself. Enough sleep, water, warmth, cleanliness and hygiene, good feeling food, and people who are kind and patient as my friends and lovers. Lots of quiet and nature and solitude and telling the truth, being me, understanding my own self, letting people be impermanent, imperfect, saving for the future me, staying in touch with holy influence, gratitude and affirmations, trusting my inner voice. And I'll finish up with a talk I had with this woman named Riet. I met her in Overeaters Anonymous. She basically, I mentioned before about food. So I actually have 2 topics I want to share. One is like ideas, and one is more downloads, more uploads. It's hard to say which is which. The other thing was probably downloads. Then I have some uploads to share. But first I wanted to share from my talk with Riet. It's not usually one person ruining my life. It's me through many different people. Maybe I find people who punish me or shame me, but I can ask people not to talk about my body. Communication patterns and expectations are set early on, so some people use others' vulnerabilities against them. But tolerance, acceptance, understanding brings happiness, joyousness, and freedom to both people. So what wires together, fires together. And prioritizing is a birthright. What is a gift that can only be improved on and added to? That's a birthright. What's a gift that can only be improved on and added to? Identifying key components of expansive dynamics, attack versus debate, discussing even controversialities versus contentious rhetoric or critical or polemic has to win the argument and the dispute. However, we could do it could be abusive. Rather, when we relate each other, instead of the programming that supports buzzwords, we could have a direct, reconciling, out pulsing and out vibrating, learning, building, studying, painting, performing, writing together. A progress, being a process, better than perfection. Where we're able to see things that are short-circuiting because the quick fixes are not sustainable. And I want to share now some ideas I was having, and I said I'll finish with this, but basically, I was looking at how the only waste, and these are just pretty random. I don't know if they're so kind of maybe non-linear, but the only waste of time is thinking negative about myself or others. And dying of deprivation is like dying of abundance. The shame around my taste and my cooking skills was, for example, that I had a taste for abundance, but I was depriving myself of home cooked food at that time. Or in many other areas, family values versus women's rights. There's this tribe extended, You're just like me. You're not individuals whose benefits are mutually exclusive. I also think of myself as like my, in terms of family, in terms of community, social, my voice being too loud. They already want to see me laugh and they're proud of me. Family of trees haunted. There was a song, family of trees haunted. See me laugh, proud or something, wanting to be. This was the words. My voice is too loud. They want to see already. So I was thinking about how, could it be that if I grew up in a family like that, that would be who I was, that they would be proud of me, want to see me laugh. That's really the patience, that if it is the family I had, can I learn to see it? I don't have to run anymore because there's so much space in the journey versus the destination. The infinite patience that produces immediate results because I'm not less than or undeserving of total happiness, love, and success. I'm learning that joy matches me instead of being someone who needs to hurry up just to wait. Like, hurry up to wait. In other words, I'm being here now, always on the way, knowing even on an ego level that there's a natural order and this is good. Emotional story of the body is patterns of constriction, not liking, feelings. These can be expressed and released. I was even thinking of vaginas, in terms of constriction and dilating, how it's like a black hole, it's like eyes, a receptor, sensitive center, a light vessel. And finally, I was looking into like disease of not enough, protecting my my art without injuring myself in the process, where the world catches up if we're a fake or a sellout instead of doing what we love for ourselves, because success is not the same thing as rich and famous. Those are false rewards. And rather to be independent or, having passion, which is creativity, not controlling it. It's all about getting busy living and not getting busy dying and doing what I love for myself, really, because instead of who's been telling me to be, who I should be, but I could say no. And really, I don't have to work for someone who wants me to shrink. And I hope that this was interesting for you, and I wish you a good night, and be well. Bye.